Hi, my name is Marquise Jackson. I'm the Interim Director for Campus Enterprise Services here at Southwestern College. Welcome to Sexual Assault Awareness Month 2021. In the following video, there's going to be some stories shared by 3 survivors. Sometimes it's great to hear from those of us who have experienced sexual violence. That way, we're able to get the depth, the breadth, the impact that this violence has had on their lives, but also get to share their stories so that others who may be experiencing sexual violence in the forms of domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, or stalking could hear from someone else and identify with their story. So this video will have 3 different stories of 3 different types of sexual violence. This first story is being presented by Sonia Camargo.
Hi everybody, my name is Sonia Camargo and I'm a survivor of domestic violence. Nobody in a million years would have thought that I would be a victim of domestic violence, least of all me. I grew up with all men, very independent, very strong, and somehow or another it happened. I didn't know how it happened. I didn't know how I allowed myself to get in that situation, but I did. And for a long time I blamed myself. I made excuses. I was too ashamed that I allowed myself to get in that situation, that I didn't know how to ask for help. I tried to cover it up and it just made things worse. Until one day I reached out to somebody that I trusted, and everybody knew before I even said anything. I guess they were just waiting for me to ask for help, and I did. And now things are so much different, so much better. You know, I just want to let everybody out there know that who is a victim, that it isn't your fault, that you're not alone, and that with the support, you can do this. You can walk away and you can be happy and have a different life, and regardless, it isn't your fault. You know, if there's anything that I want to share with everybody, is that it isn't your fault in no way. No matter what you say, no matter what you don't do, no matter, it doesn't matter. It's not okay to live like that. And when you get over the hump and you start moving through the pain, life gets so much better. You know, maybe you think that you can't be without that person, or but you can. It gets easier. You know, and now people look at me and it's crazy that some people, it's hard for them to believe that I was that victim. Other people who saw me go through it can tell the difference in me now. Life gets better. Just know that life gets better once you walk away. For you, for your kids.
This next story is being presented by Elizabeth de la Torre. Elizabeth's video will not be shown, but her audio will be available. So please, the video isn't ending. We're just showing her audio.
Of course, before I met Julio in a dating app. We were only talking for a week. He invited me out. I agreed. We went back to his place. He gave me a drink. It didn't make me feel so good. I remember being tired. I felt drunk or drugged. I remember telling him to stop, that I wasn't ready. All he said was to be quiet. When he was done, I looked down. I remember looking at blood. He shook me and he told me to leave. I got dressed and left. Called myself a cab. Went home, showered. They couldn't tell anybody. I was ashamed. I called him the next day. He didn't answer. I called him 20 times to ask him why he did that. He never responded back. I was ashamed of myself. After that, I think all my relationships went downhill. I feel dirty because I felt it was my fault. So many years have passed and I've never told anybody because it's the worst way to lose your virginity. I think today it's easier to talk about it because I have family around me that's more open-minded. And before, it wasn't allowed to be talked about. We need this to stop.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Tobias, and I really want to thank Southwestern College for including me in this incredible advocacy project on this Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and for creating all of these amazing opportunities for the student community to be able to share, connect, learn, and grow, and hopefully heal from some experiences that you may have had. And this may also help you prevent something from happening in the future, and to learn tools for how to recognize red flags and how to recognize signs of situations that you might want to just steer clear of. So I'm an expressive arts therapist, and I use art to bring relief and healing to individuals who've experienced trauma or are just going through some challenging times in their life. And I came to this work, I'm an artist, and I realized for me that arts were very healing and uplifting and nurturing. And so for me, it was just a natural fit, and it made sense that that's what I would do with my life, that I would use the arts in a therapeutic way to help heal. So when I was younger, I experienced being stalked. And I wanted to share with you about this in the event that anything like this happens to you, and that you feel comfortable being able to process your information, to share, to let out, what happened. I'm very embarrassed. I feel a lot of shame and discomfort even talking about it to this day, because I can't believe I let something like this happen to me. But it just happens. You don't know a person until you do, and sometimes you just don't really believe something like this could happen. So I had started to kind of end a flirt or end a communication with somebody who lived on the East Coast. I lived on the West Coast. I was a photographer. I'd done some photography for his band. We connected a few times in between then, and as I got to know him better, he started to concern me with some of his temperament issues, and it wasn't until a friend of his moved out to the West Coast, and I'd invited him to some parties and things to help him kind of get to know his way around the city, make some friends. He became totally unhinged. He became jealous, and his jealousy threw him into some kind of an episode, like a psychotic episode, and he began to call me every 2 minutes, threatening to kill me, threatening to hurt me and harm me, and he described in great detail all the things he wanted to do to my body, to harm me, and that went on for a few days, and then beyond that it went on for years. He didn't continue to threaten me for years, but he continued to try to find me for years and years and years. And in fact, crazy coincidence, I hadn't heard from him in now a very long time. And as soon as I signed on to do this project, I swear I heard from him, and I got 2 text messages and 2 phone calls on my office phone, and it was just a reminder that this was very real, and it was a scary chapter of my life. So when he threatened me with the phone calls, I immediately kind of cut off contact. I didn't have as good of a call block as we have now with iPhones or smartphones. And I did take a number of the calls just so that I had some kind of a log or a record or evidence of what happened. But beyond that, I think I blocked his number. But then he would try every which way he could to call me from a different number and a different phone, and this persisted, like I said, for many years. So I did. What did I do on a personal level? I unlisted my number, my home number. I blocked my home address for years. Every time I moved, every time I had a home phone, every time I went someplace else, I never used my home address for things. I had a P.O. box, and I had, just all these ways that I tried to stay very private. Now, I'm an artist. I'm in the public. I have shows and exhibits, and I'm on social media, so it's not 100%, but I felt like I put a lot of safeguards in place for myself. I looked into getting a restraining order to protect myself that way, but at the time it was complicated because of being in 2 places, and I don't know, it just didn't work out. But I highly encourage everybody to look into restraining orders as soon as possible if you need to. I encourage you to get legal help. I'm not an expert in that area. I just know what I did to stop it, which was cutting off communication, changing my available addresses, just making contact with me very difficult. I stayed in control of how I put myself out there, not how somebody could find me. So I also, as I said, I turned to the arts for healing, and I found and I discovered over time that the deeper I went in the creative process, the more healing it was for me. So that's what worked for me. But you might have another way. It might be just dance. It might be a sport. It might be mindfulness. It might be surfing. Whatever it may be, I encourage you to really find your peace and find what makes you really connect to something that brings you a lot of calm and a lot of inner calm and outer calm. So to this day, I feel like my life has changed. I'm always aware of my surroundings. I feel like I kind of am always looking in front of me, always looking behind me, always trying to stay aware. I never wanted something like this to happen to me again. So, I'm married now. I have a child. My life is very different, but now I'm trying to reach out to younger generations. I'm trying to teach my daughter and really say that if you have an intuition, or if your body tells you that things are starting to not feel right, then trust your instincts. If something happens to you, don't hold it inside. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid to reach out and speak out. The person might even threaten you. They might make you feel afraid to say anything. And that is something else you have to work around, because you need help, you need support. And this person will do whatever they can to make their presence feel large in your life and to make you feel small and out of control. So you're in charge of your life, your choices, your decisions, your communication, your legal rights, and your healing. And you'll find that as you begin to reach out and begin to look for resources, there's a lot of support out there in a lot of different avenues. You are resilient, you're strong, you are smart, you have a lot of tools available to you, and you're worth it. And don't ever feel like anybody has any control over your life, because they don't. I promise you they don't. And you can always find a way forward. For me, I feel that giving back to the community, sharing my story, doing the work that I do with expressive arts has been the way that I've healed and grown, and I am grateful to have the opportunity, even if it's hard, even if I'm ashamed, even if I'm embarrassed, to tell you that, unfortunately, you're not alone. There's, a few of us who've gone through this, and please look for support. So thank you, and I encourage you to go out today and really do something that you love. And thank you for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Marquise Jackson, and I'm the Interim Director of Campus Enterprise Services at Southwestern College. And on behalf of our consortium, I would like to thank you for your interest and participation in these online events centered on the important topic of sexual violence. Please be aware that some of the presented content may be triggering to survivors of sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking. If you need help, please contact South Bay Community Services at 1-800-640-2933 or the Center for Community Solutions at 1-888-385-4657. Thank you.